Hi, everyone. Amanda Douglas back here from Celebration Title Group, bringing you another amazing pivot panel. This one I'm really excited about. I kind of switched it up a little bit, and I wanted to do it more of, a pivot panel from some leaders that I see, of course, in the real estate community that are very heart-centered. They love their teams, they love their clients, and they always put them first, even before the crisis, coming from empathy, coming from kindness. That really truly embodies these 5 people here. So I'm excited to talk to them of how maybe that has made it different for the shifts and pivots that they've had. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And I'm going to give you an opportunity just to quickly introduce yourself. So Joe, I'll start with you.
All right, thanks for having me. Joe Rosa, owner of Rosa Realty and Rosa Franchising. So
awesome. Thank you. Wendy.
Hey guys, it's Wendy Stewart. I am the managing broker of the Property Pros, team leader of the Stewart team. I'm so excited to be here with all of you.
Awesome. Tom.
Hey guys, Tom Nickley with the Nickley Group at Keller Williams. Thanks so much for having me, Amanda. I'm looking forward to share.
Definitely. So excited to have you. Chris.
Hey everyone, Chris.
Yesterday.
Thank
so
you.
Everyone give a shout out to Chris.
Name's Christopher Diaz, team lead for the Everyday Luxury Group and the real estate sales director for Veranda Properties.
Awesome. And Veronica.
Hi, my name is Veronica Figueroa. I am the team leader of the Figueroa team at EXP.
Happy to have you guys. Thank you so much. We'll jump right into it. And everyone that's watching, if you have any comments or any questions, we're definitely going to get to those as we go along. But excited to jump right in. So kind of, again, with a people first mentality, that's what I really think of when I look at the 5 of you. Always before the crisis, you've put your teams first, you put your clients first, you come from a very heart-centered message, again, with that empathy and kindness that we're all shifting to. And it's never been a very salesy thing. It's always been a very leadership, both in your community and for your team. So kind of with that people first mentality from all of you, you were some of the first to react to the social distancing just to make sure that your teams and your clients were staying informed. What do your current operations look like? Especially with you, Joe, I know you have several companies and you were even growing and expanding of franchises, even internationally. So what does that look like for you? And I'm sure your phone is blowing up every day.
yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think we could all agree this is definitely uncharted waters for all of us. And it was kind of, I guess, early March where I started to kind of see, on the news that this was starting to become, obviously a bigger problem every day. And so it was about, I would say, the second week of March where I got with my team at our corporate office and we started to kind of plan for the what ifs. And literally everything, it felt like around like the 12th, 13th of March, everything just happened so fast. So we immediately had our corporate office start to work from home remotely. We had planned for it. And obviously going up into that time, we were also kind of, trying to prepare all of our franchisees as well, all of our different owners throughout the state of Florida and across the US. So just to kind of, come up with different contingency plans, what ifs, and we're all, working from home now, still communicating. In fact, I would say we're probably over communicating. We're probably communicating more than we probably normally have been, which is a great thing. I think, I'm sure we'll probably talk about things that we've learned throughout this pandemic. There's a lot of things now that we're going to probably incorporate in our everyday practice once we get back to some normalcy. So we've been communicating, ongoing, not only with my staff, but of course with all of our offices throughout the US and even internationally. I mean, this is crazy how we've been seeing this impact just not happen here. It's literally happening, across the planet.
Yeah, definitely. And I can definitely attest to that with working with even your corporate office team. They shifted very quickly and overnight to make sure that your whole team was home and safe. So that's amazing. From you too, I know you run a team and you guys are so big on culture and always being together. And of course, being a resource for your community, you've always been in the forefront of that. So, you reacted very quickly. So tell us, kind of what your current operations look like now with your team and how you're kind of staying engaged.
So for me, like you said, I go against the grain a little bit. I still come in the office, one of our offices. I still travel to Tampa. I'm not trying to be a hero or really go against the grain. It's just I have to wake up and go to the office. I don't know why. I wish I could stop that trend. There's no need for me to be here, but I'm here, and it's strange because agents have come in here and there, and when they do, we're both kind of like, you're here, oh my gosh, and so as far as that goes, I've still been going to the offices. That hasn't changed too much. Not seeing my team together cohesively has been very difficult. Our team meetings are at my kitchen table. That part has been very hard. I don't like the Zoom. I want to see them. I want to touch them. I want to hug them. It's hard for me. It's been very hard for me. I don't know if it's hard for them, but it's hard for me. So, but we're doing what we are supposed to be doing as much as we can, taking the precautions, and just hoping it all goes back to normal soon.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, you were right in the middle of growing and opening Tampa too. So you're still continuing to kind of hit the pavement over there and making sure everyone there is supported. So kudos to you. That's a lot for sure.
Thank you.
Tom, from your perspective too, I know you have quite a large team, and you guys were always together, right? And in one space all the time. So what does that look like for you now? And how is that impacting kind of the culture, I guess, overall? What are you doing to kind of compensate for that?
Yeah, for us, when it was a very big pivot in the sense that exactly what you said is, from day one for us, everything around what we do, everything, our culture, and we're a prospecting based team, and we have been since day one. All of that has always been built around us being in the office every single day, working the same schedule, and doing everything side by side. That's where the cultures come from, and the coaching and the accountability and the motivation and what keeps people going, right? Most people, like Wendy said, most people, you said you can't, before we went live, you said, I can't work from home. I can't do it. And most people can't. So, we've built everything on being here in the office, 30 of us in the office at the same time every day. So we had to shift everything from, everything we did was belly to belly and side by side and meeting with clients and face to face and buyer consultations. And we had to completely change our systems and our processes to adjust to the current time. So for us, from a team standpoint, we've literally, and I'm sure everybody on here can say the same thing, we've literally taken Zoom and we've changed. We've taken all the processes and everything that we've done on our team, and now we just do it through Zoom. So our sales meeting every Monday morning, where we do a Zoom conference and we run the sales meeting exactly the same way as if it was here in person. We still do our role play every single day, and we do our prospecting on Zoom. Right before we got on here, the whole team is on a Zoom conference. So even though they're at home, they're there together, they're sitting down, they're focused on the prospecting piece, they're doing it together, banter going back and forth, and we're still doing our call nights together and happy hours. And we've tried to take what we've always done here and just replicate it virtually until we can get through this. So, and it's been great. I mean, it's really, really, really been great. It's given us the time to kind of refocus on some things that we didn't have the chance to focus on when we're going every single day. It's and we've just taken everything we've done and we've tried to create a virtual way to do that.
Yeah, definitely. I think all of us on here can attest to that as business owners. It's given us time to slow down and focus on the processes, right? And just tweaking those and making sure they're perfect when we're back out of this. So I love that you're digging in deep as the leader and helping with that too. So kudos to you. And Chris, from your perspective, I know you kind of, you're a hybrid. You deal with a lot of investors. You deal with Pamela and the property management company. So you have a lot on as well as running your own team. What does all of that look like for you now?
Loaded question. It's been unique. It is a very diversified business, which many of us can attest to. My team consists of, it's probably one of the smaller teams here. It's myself, my wife is our director of our community connections, so she's just staying connected with people. And then we have two other agents who are really part-time agents, but full-time in everything they do. And in this current scenario they're on the front line of those essential roles. One's a police officer and the other one's a teacher. So they are getting pulled in multiple directions, but they're also getting inundated with questions because they're around. They're still around or interacting with a lot of people just by the nature of what they do. And we've always made it a point to make sure that people around you know what you do, and so they know that they're in real estate as well. And so they're getting hit with these questions of, what's going on, what's in the market. And so we talk often about making sure we're staying on top of positive information that's coming out, being a positive communicator, trying to communicate valid and helpful information. And then on the properties management side, I know the rest of the team at the office, everybody's virtual, everybody's doing something from wherever they are. They've managed to turn that whole thing that they operate into a very, very well systematic layout. And everything is in full operation, but it's a lot of touch points with a lot of people, especially on the tenant side, and interacting and keeping them in the loop as to how things transpire and work in their benefit as well as the owners. So there's a lot of information, I guess. For us, it's a lot of information between investors, tenants, and handling questions that's coming in. It's keeping the positive attitude because they're watching our thermometer and checking the temperature of the market. What are we saying? What are we doing? How do we feel? Are we confident? And the great thing is that we can say we are just based upon what we've been experiencing. So there's been a lot of positive communication, and we're still seeing people do things. So I don't know. I think that's in a nutshell for our team. That's kind of what we're seeing. And so we're just making sure we're on top of our communication and everything that we're doing.
Yeah, and I think that, what you said, it goes back to what Joe said, with all of you being such people and leaders first and loving your people, over communicating has been kind of easy, right? It's been a lot easier to implement. So I love that. And Veronica, I seeing you from your backyard. I'm a little jealous of your backyard. But, I know that you switched there very quickly and you immediately sent your team home. So kind of what does that look like for you? And, how are you guys engaging? I know you're running a daily morning meeting with your team and doing a lot of stuff. So tell us what that looks like and how you're kind of keeping everyone together.
Yeah, I probably just play off of what everyone is saying. We've had to pivot really quickly. COVID hit us really close to home. Two of our agents lost family members to it. So we knew we needed to be responsible and just at least follow the orders of staying home as much as we could. I miss the office. Wendy, I hear you, girl, because I'm struggling with that. I want to just run to the office. But, we made a commitment to work from home. And everyone had a moment to kind of like wallow in their worries and have a little funk for like a day or two. And then we had to just say, okay, shake it off. Let's go. New normal. What are we going to do? And I feel like we've had to 10x our energy and everything, from just having a lot of energy, having a lot of recommitting to new things. And I had to, as a leader, instantly think, okay, what do they need now from me? Which I knew community was very important. But not just, the normal community. So what I've been doing with our team is we've been reaching out to national, friends of the business, or just, how are people navigating through this in other states, just to give our current team reassurance. And we're learning together. We're building additional community outside of just our community while we still have our daily huddles. So we're actually bringing in leaders from all over to not necessarily educate our agents, but to just really stay connected and where the industry's going. So that's one of the things that we've done differently, because I knew I needed to just bring more, right? I needed to bring more during this time, but that I would say that new normal that we're living will play into the future for us. Like, I'm excited to see how we've embraced a lot of this, I would say, this new normal into who we want to be in the future. So for us, it's been doing a lot of the same things we were doing of, being a tight-knit community, but then taking it to the next level, and as a team, all recommitting to learning things differently and taking action differently. So for us, it's a journey. It's not a destination. We're still trying to figure this out together. We're still trying to, I would say, evolve into the next best version of ourselves as real estate professionals, and we're doing it together as a community and giving ourselves permission to navigate through this, sometimes even with a little bit of worry. So
I love that. And, that really speaks volumes too to humility, right? Because as leaders, we all kind of want to have the answers. We want to have the answers all the time. And it's great that you're like, I don't have all the answers, but here's what we can do, to get to the other side of this. So I love that you're rallying around your team for that. So thank you for, being such an amazing resource to the community. So kind of going into the next question, it's really more so about kind of in times of crisis, being a heart-centered leader, like all of you are, how have you had to adapt to, bringing value to your team and clients, and how difficult or how easy has it been? And I'll start with you, Joan. I'll probably answer your question for you by saying this, but a lot of people don't know, even though your business model that you do have, you bring a ton of resources to your agents, and you guys have classes daily that go on behind the scenes, and they've always been virtual. But I would say you guys have overloaded those classes with a ton of new content. And, from your perspective, how easy was that to be able to implement? And then, of course, even taking it further with you and Dina kind of launching the Thrive Society.
Yeah, so we've always had, like you said, we've always offered virtual training, education. We've definitely have seen an increase in attendance as of late. And so, of course, I've been trying to also get all of our offices across the country to all kind of rally together and to really also share all of our classes. So, we have an awesome internal network that we're able to have classes that are being taught, whether they're in California, New York, Georgia, anywhere else, where all of our La Rosa agents have access to it. And we actually even made it available on social media for everybody. So that was a pretty easy transition for us. It was already kind of in place. And then in regards to what Dina and I did, just like I think I think Veronica mentioned, for the first day or two, when all this was kind of, unraveling, I personally kind of freaked out myself a little bit, right? I'm thinking why now? I was literally the next day I was supposed to fly my family out to Hawaii on a spring break, vacation. I had to cancel it at midnight. And then next thing I know, the next day, all the cruise lines all canceled. And so it was this has to happen now. In the spring market, out of all markets, I was supposed to go to Colombia 2 weeks later for a grand opening for one of our offices there. And so I struggled with it for about 24, 48 hours. And then it just kind of hit me. It's I got to snap out of it. And I have to be able to, lead now throughout this process. So Dina and I talked about, listen, we've been blessed. We've had the opportunity to take in so much valuable content over the years from the greats, Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, Tom Ferry. And now it's our time to really, push it back out there. And so, we've always offered different programs internally within La Rosa. And now we just wanted it to offer to the community. I mean, regardless, it doesn't matter if you're in real estate, doesn't matter, what industry you're in. We just want to be able to kind of push out education that can really help folks kind of get through this. And so we created our Thrive Society on Facebook. It's a private group, which all you got to do there is just go and request to become a member. And every week we're just doing classes. Every Monday we do a class in our called Plan Over Panic series. And then we have interviews that we do throughout the week. We just did one today with a gentleman from New York, Greg Genovese with New York Life. So we're just trying to get in, also get the feedback from the community, find out, hey, what is it right now that you want to learn about? What do you need right now? What are your needs? And then we want to be able to kind of help you throughout this process by trying to cater to those needs. So
yeah, I love that. And definitely, if you guys are listening and watching, request to join the Thrive Society. There's some great information on there, and you've had the VP of Morgan Stanley is on there, like talking about the stock market. It's been really, really great information.
Yeah, we've it's been fun getting all the guests to come in and join us. We got some great ones lined up over the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned.
Perfect. Amazing. And Wendy, from your perspective, and I know that you're a heart-centered leader, you're one of those that are constantly, putting your team in front, right? And really like celebrating those small wins with them. What additional value with your team or even your clients have you been able to implement, or has it been difficult to do during these times?
So I'm going to be honest, it's been difficult because we never did virtual, too much virtual anything. So this totally, Anthony and I had to kind of figure it all out, as we're going along. And every day is different, right? Because every day there's new information and things are changing. So we've quickly adapted to, doing virtual trainings and kind of reaching out to the agents and saying, all right, here's your time. What do you guys want to learn about? What can we help you do? What can we, what do you want to know more about? Do you want to, or do you just want to FaceTime me and talk? So there's been a lot of really actually getting down deeper, one-on-one with some of the agents. And my teammates too, with the Stewart team. And, not every day is rainbows and unicorns. I have my moments. I do try to look at my glass half full every single day, but my daughter's a senior, so that hit me hard, not being able to celebrate prom. And that was like a hard 2 days for me. That whole, what do you mean there's no graduation? What do you mean there's no grad bash? What do you mean? So I did have just 2 days of being blue. Now I'm pink again, but it's all learning as we go. But I choose to, like I said, look at my glass half full. I'm still living the dream. I'm still being able to provide. What a blessing. We're still, thank God we can do this virtually, right? I mean, so we're just every day learning, growing, and the agents are being patient with us, and I love them. I thank you, all 63 of you, because it's all new to me too.
Yeah, definitely. So I love that, and just the messaging is different, right? It's just kind of a how are you doing now, not like how are your sales and who have you connected with. It's more of connecting with your team on a personal level. So I love
Absolutely.
that. And Tom, as well, from your standpoint, again, being a heart-centered leader and having everyone around you all the time and having such a structured schedule when you guys are all together. You mentioned taking all that stuff virtually already. How difficult was that in, keeping it a priority for sure, especially with some of your team possibly having, kids in school, right? Virtual school and your own, and mine are in the background. So I'm just praying that they're not going to jump out anytime soon and say, I'm done, Mom, with my homework. Can I get on video games? But, how do you still manage that and keep it a priority and, give yourself permission to be flexible and bring different kind of value?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's understanding understanding everybody's situation individually, right? Like everybody's impacted by this situation in one way or another, but it's completely different for everybody, right? Some people have kids, some people don't have kids. Some people have the fear of everything that's going on, right? Like the fear, and some people it's hit close to home, some people it hasn't, right? So I think the first thing is, from both an agent and a client standpoint, is understanding that everybody's entitled to their own way of reacting to what's going on, right? So I think it's coming from that place first. But I think for us, really overall, it's been helping agents and clients focus on the right mindset, right? Like, because their mindset's everything. I mean, it's everything when everything is great and going good and positive, but it's even more important when shit hits the fan, right? But people tend to forget that, right? Because when shit hits the fan, we're very reactionary. And with social media and the news and all the negativity and all the fear mongering, and if you listen too much, people think the real estate market's going to crash. There's just so much bullshit out there, right? That I think most importantly, it's my job to make sure everybody keeps the right mindset and everybody keeps the right focus, right? So I think for us, it's just really looking at this. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. right? We are fortunate, we are blessed, we are able to conduct business, as normal. Obviously, not as normal, but we're able to conduct our business, and we haven't been interrupted like a lot of the other states. So I think it's for us, it's really wrapping our mindset and making it positive that this is an opportunity, right? This is an opportunity to get better at the things that you don't have the time to focus on getting better when it's really, really, really busy. It's an opportunity to talk to past clients and sphere of influence, the people that you always beat yourself up for not talking to when it's really, 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 really busy, right? Taking the time to do that and really just looking at the opportunity on the other side of this, right? I think we can all agree that the housing market is still very healthy, and man, there is going to be a rubber band effect at the end of this thing. There are people that are legitimately just sitting on the sideline waiting for the green light to buy a house, right? We all can experience how busy it still is, and it's slowed down, right? So, there's the other side of this. There's so much opportunity. So for us, it's focusing on that opportunity, right? It's focusing on using this time to reconnect with past clients and double down on our habits and have more meaningful conversations every day and adding people to our database that aren't currently there, right? Because when it's really busy, we don't have time to do those things. So it's focusing on the habits. The account for us, we went from weekly accountability to our prospecting numbers and habits to daily, where people are setting their own individual goals, but they're inputting those numbers each and every day. So it's looking at the opportunity, doubling down on our habits now and literally stacking the deck for the other side. So I think by them focusing on the right mindset, it focus on the habits. They don't have time to focus on all the noise. They don't have time to focus on all the doom and gloom. So for us, it's really been respecting each individual, right? We all have had clients, and our team has had clients that are sitting on the sideline, and they canceled contracts, and they're going to wait the coronavirus out. You have to be respectful of those clients, right? Because if you're not respectful of them, they're not going to be your clients anymore, right? So it's respecting, your team members. It's respecting your clients, and it's really just having a plan either way.
I love that. So, and it really is a testament to a leader of, when things are automatic and when things are easy and the market's great, it's great to be positive and all of that. But if you can be calm and positive and a resource for your team during times of crisis as well, it really shows that moral authority, that you actually practice what you preach. So that's amazing to see. Chris, from your perspective too, how easy was it to adapt? I know specifically I wanted to ask, you have quite a large portfolio of investors in California, so how is that to be able to adapt the messaging to them out in California, how different it is here in Florida?
Yeah, so it's two definitely distinct and unique markets from what they experience to what we experience. So I mentioned before, and I can echo a lot of what Tom was just saying, is that in our what we're presenting and the information we're pulling together, one, that we're keeping a positive attitude in everything that we're doing, and I stress that to the team that there's so much going on, we can get distracted by a lot of negativity, but being able to look at the information, while we can't guarantee anything, able to give helpful information and let them know that we're keeping an eye on things. Because I work with a ton of investors. That's the base of my business. The traditional things that I do is just within my sphere. Everything else is just an investor business that I've built through that. And they have tons of questions, right? They're watching, they're seeing in their personal markets. They're like, do you guys seeing that there? And again, just having good resources that we can go to and say, hey, this is what we're seeing, and not just jumping on the whim of, hey, I saw this in the news, what's the case, or this is what's happening, and being able to go back and say, okay, here's some information, hard evidence. I can speak to what my deals have been specifically over the past 2 months, right? Here's what we've seen. Here's where our appraisals are. Here's what the numbers are. Those kind of things. And then within the team, funny enough, we were just talking about this over the past couple of weeks regarding pivot. and I had come up with my own little acronym for it as to how to relate it to the team. So I'll just quickly share it real quick. But the P is, I've already stated, is a positive attitude. So number one on the pivot is we got to stay positive. Two, the I is being intentional about what we do. Very, very intentional. Who we're communicating with, how we're communicating with them. V, I call it variety, and it works really well for my team because they are part-timers in the real estate business. So the variety is, what are we doing? How are we creating streams of income? They're doing multiple different things, so they have a lot of people they can connect with in different ways. We also look at how we're communicating, a variety of communications through the virtual portals, through the email, through the phone calls. We offer value. Whatever we're going to do, whatever we're going to communicate, we're going to offer value in what we're doing. Specifically, a lot with those investors too, is showing them, hey, here's the value that we bring in understanding our market and being able to communicate that back to them, and that they can say, hey, okay, yeah, I see that, you're right. And then T, wrap it up with time management. Watch what you're doing. If it's not working, be able to pivot off of that and to try something different and stick to what's working as well. So watching what we're doing and maintaining that. But yeah.
I love that. I hope everybody was writing that down. I think that's like something you can print out and stare at every day right now, right? And something I forgot to mention earlier. What did you call your wife? What's her title?
Captain Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Courtney. I know you're watching, and she's the most adorable human ever. But
on the team, she's the director of community connection.
I love that.
She's been able to maintain it. So it's so funny because she is, like Wendy was saying, she is tremendously a face-to-face, belly-to-belly person, hugs, kisses, all that. So during this time, it's been, hey, being able to interact on the social medias and the things like that to stay connected. And she does an amazing job at that. So yeah, that's.
Veronica, from your perspective too, during this time of crisis, I know you're very big and heart-centered and love and pour into your team. How easy has it been to adapt, bringing additional value and what are you guys really doing to implement it? I know you've got, an amazing director of operations that's really helped you shift as well. Hi, Chris. I hope you're watching. And then, Caroline, who helps you with a lot of the marketing, and you guys have really, been able to shift and put out a lot of additional resources, even not just for your team, but for the community. So, how easy or difficult was that to get them to kind of shift to that mindset?
I definitely don't feel it's been easy. There have been times where I felt like I had a mental block. But again, I'm a firm believer in reaching out to others that I feel I can phone a friend. I can call a Joe LaRose, or I can call a Lori Reed, or I can call someone who is doing things at a high level and say, hey, listen, what's working for you guys? And obviously, many of you guys might know I coach with John Cheplack, and we put on an event with him because I needed to phone a friend and ask for their support during this leadership. And we just went straight to the heart, meeting people where they're at. Listen, there's no cookie cutter script. There's no COVID script. It's calling our database, calling our people and say, hey, listen, we're all going through uncertain times right now. We just want to check on you. And we really want to meet each consumer where they're at, each client where they're at, each agent where they're at. Very similar to what Wendy said. If I need to hop on a one-on-one with an agent, it's because I'm meeting that agent where they're at. I've got an agent right now whose dad is in a nursing home, and he can't see his dad. His wife happens to be an administrator at that nursing home, and he wasn't there for COVID, but because of COVID, he couldn't see his family member. I have to meet that agent where he's at. It's a different conversation. Same thing when we're talking to our clients and our database. Our agents are like, what do I say? Hey, just pick up the phone and check on people. That's the conversation we're having. And, when we decided to bring John Cheplack and have our, and I love that Joe calls his Thrive Society, ours was Ride and Thrive, right? How are we going to ride through this and come out of this thriving, right? As a community in real estate. A lot of people, I love what John talks. He says, oh, you guys want that secret, or, what's that secret, formula to success? And right now it's the heart. It's connecting with people through the heart. and connecting and meeting them where they're at. There is no, special COVID objection handler. And how you represent yourself today is how people are going to judge you coming out of this. So for me, it's like, I just want to meet people where they're at. I want to lead with the heart. And I've also been, again, just putting myself out there, exposing myself from the heart as a representation of our industry. And I don't care if anybody duplicates what we're doing or, gets a page of our playbook, because at the end of the day, I'm leading my people, my tribe, who connect with me from the heart. And you have to do the same for your people. And another thing I want to say is, like, guys, for those of you who are having a little bit of fear, listen, we're going to real estate. We're just going to real estate different. And what we realize, we just have to adapt. But I think, like Nick said, man, this is a great opportunity for us to start doing some of the things we needed to start doing anyways. It's actually been refreshing to see people finally start doing videos, finally start giving back, finally start collaborating, sharpening their skills. I mean, our industry was behind in so many things anyways. So I see it as this has been an advancement. We've had to fast track a lot quicker. And it's actually been refreshing, aside from the unfortunate circumstances that people are living in. It's been refreshing to see agents finally step out of their comfort zone, finally come from a place of being this competitive, toxic industry and really just showing up as just amazing human beings who happen to do real estate for a living. So that's my 2 cents. It has not been easy, but it has been very rewarding to see our industry finally step up.
Yeah, I love that, Veronica. And that, I was listening to Joe mention John Maxwell. I'm a huge fan of John Maxwell. So if anybody, wants some sort of, just positivity, and when you talk about positivity, like you just said, it's not the confidence of positivity right now isn't, you're not being, crazy and people are like, oh, they're just being positive. It's like, you really are confident that we're going to come out of this, much better, and the bond much better between your teams. And I love seeing that across the board. But John Maxwell talks about the importance of having a mentor right now and reaching out to other people. And there's a Leading Through Crisis on mentorship that I encourage everyone to listen to. That's just talking about what questions to ask a mentor right now that will really keep you afloat and really keep you going outside of even your leader of, your team. So, kind of going into the next question, we want to talk about, during these times, we talk about leaning a business, and we talk about, even if you haven't had to cut expenses, have you had to shift them? Are there different forms of marketing that you're doing to increase your profitability? And, always keeping that people first. And that's why I love this panel is you can still shift and look at profitability, but with the people in mind. And, judging your team, and something I preach all the time is, when you judge your team on profit and loss, that's when the mentalities really go down. So, how have you looked at, the bottom line, but with keeping people first? And Joe, I'll start with you.
Sure. So I got to be honest. I've never been a big fan of looking at the books to the extent of going through and understanding the P&Ls and the balance sheets. And I would budget to some extent, of course, just as a business owner. But this has really, forced us to kind of take a step back and reevaluate everything. And throughout this, right, again, I think someone mentioned it, always trying to find the positive and everything. This has really forced me to go through and look at, all right, what do I really need? Like, do I need to have this system in place, or should I be spending my money over here instead of over here? And so it's allowed us to kind of reevaluate really, everything from top to bottom. I can tell you what, and I happen to be, like, at the corporate office, I happen to be my own landlord, but working now remotely, right? Working now in this setting, most of my team is actually doing very, very well working from home, and a lot of folks are I'm probably going to have them actually still continue to work remotely after all this is over. Which is going to affect me anyways, because I'm the landlord. But I'm seeing that we're getting more work done in this setting. So it's been interesting. I think that if this didn't happen, we would have went through the spring market. Our company, not just Rosa Realty, but Rosa Franchising, we've been expanding all over. And I probably would have continued just, going through the entire year without really looking at, what's important as a business owner, your numbers, right? Your profit margins and everything else. So this has allowed us to kind of really now plan and position ourselves now to end the year strong and to go into 2021 and to be in an even stronger place. So.
Yeah. And I think you hit it right on the head. I think a lot of people are reevaluating the need for a big office space, right? And the need for, how can you be productive without having to have massive overhead and still keeping the people first. So I love that you're taking a look at that. And I'm similar, I'll admit it. Like, I hate looking at numbers and profit and loss, and I'd rather somebody else just tell me what to do.
Right.
But it definitely has forced us all to kind of evaluate what that looks like. So I love the vulnerability there. Wendy, from your perspective, I know you pretty well run very, very strongly on just referrals. So, your overhead is probably not massive in your marketing budget, but have you had to shift anything and, potentially even dive more marketing dollars into something that you saw an opportunity?
So yeah, a lot of our business is referral. The only thing that's really changed or that we've spent more money on, we haven't done any Wendy in the Clouds. Obviously, we can't visit any local businesses, even though we're still trying to promote them without visiting the business or just on a takeout level. And then we did a lot of we do 3 events every year. We usually do a huge Stewart Team Egg extravaganza. We weren't able to do that. So instead, we allocated those funds and sent all of our clients in our database like a Domino's gift card so they could have dinner on us. Just little things like that we shifted. But yeah, there's no huge overhead over here, thank God. So not too much has changed as far as that goes.
Good. That's really good to hear. Tom, from your perspective, anything you've taken a look at and maybe leaned out in your business, or any adjustments that you've made recently, or even increased your marketing budget? There's some people, diving into, Facebook ads are down over 50%. So, some people are shifting out dollars and taking advantage of that. So, what does that look like for you?
It's you kind of got to look at both sides, because I think as business owners, right, all of us here, you have to look. I mean, you're forced to look at expenses and you're forced to look at overhead, but at the same time, for us, we're really heavy, and Veronica and I are very, we're similar. We're very heavy. We're heavy on leads, right? We generate leads and opportunities for our team, right? Well, you don't want to go, when there's a pivot and shift in a market like there has been. You don't want to go cut in, these things in your business that create opportunities for your business. I hear so many people online, I'm going to cut my budget, cut my Zillow budget, cut my budget in half. Well, you're now cutting the lifeline of what's helped you create the momentum for your team, right? So for me, yes, leads are down, but at the same time, it takes a long time to build those pipelines and those funnels and to convert those business and to get where you want to be. And for us, personally, I don't want to cut that off and cut that lifeline because there's a little bit disruption in business, right? What we will do, what we have done is we've continued to spend the same amount on leads, but now we're focusing more on conversion. Now we're focusing more on digging deeper. Our leads may be down 40%, but if we can increase our conversion by 50%, then we're good, right? And when leads are up, you don't have the time to. I mean, you're just dealing with what you can, right? So we miss opportunities when we're so busy. So for us, we're going to keep spending the money and looking to increase market share, but we're focusing on the things that we can. I don't want to cut. We have to lead by example in these times, right? And one of the ways that we've led by example, all as leaders, is creating opportunities for our team, creating business for our team, doing those types of things. So as a leader, I don't want to lead by cutting leads down or stopping the lead flow. I think it's just kind of setting the wrong message. I think we've continued to do what we do, but we're just focusing more on getting better at those things and converting those leads.
Yeah, I love that. So, talking about being that heart-centered leader, and when you're really leads, right? You get creative because you want to continue to provide opportunities. So I love that you're still doing that for your team and still giving those opportunities and not cutting those off. So we're thankful to have you as a leader. So thank you for those tidbits. Chris, from your perspective as well, and I'm pretty sure you don't have a massive overhead. I know you manage a big investor portfolio and do a lot with them. You guys do a lot of advertising for property management. But what has it really looked like for you in managing and leading out your business, if at all?
You're right. We don't have, for my team, we don't have a lot of overhead. And what I've really focused in on is, can we do anything better than what we've been doing during this time? Do we communicate more, or do we communicate a little bit differently? Monitors, it's been more about how we communicate, and I love what Veronica was saying, because we are meeting people where they're at. That was fantastic, because we got to talk different ways or understand where people are so that we can have that communication. So really that's been our focus, is understanding who we're talking to when and what their situation is and why they're needing our service right now, and then being able to deliver that they need. Only minor tweaks, I could say, on the back end side of it's given me time to kind of look at our systems and can I have a better system. So I made a switch, and in our CRM, from a top producer, I'm switching to HubSpot actually, and when I was testing out those, that's probably been the system change that I've experienced over this time. Funny enough, it wasn't because of the coronavirus. I was already starting that process. This just gave me the, hey, you know what, do it now. Go ahead and make that shift now and get it done, while it's a little easier, I guess, to make that kind of jump. And funny enough, I'll give a shout out to the HubSpot system, is that after testing it out, I've had a top producer a long time, and it works great for different things. I saw an immediate kickback in response from the HubSpot system that I hadn't seen from the top producer system. I was like, wow, okay. So if anybody's checking out systems, I'll say that. But yeah, again, it's been a real deep focus on how we're communicating and who we're communicating to.
I love that. So, and if anyone's listening, like, now's a better time than any, right? Because I know we all procrastinate on systems because we're all entrepreneurs and we just want to create. But getting those CRMs and getting everyone in there is the most important thing you could probably focus on right now if you don't have one. Veronica, I want to go into more of a specific question on this one for you, because you run a business within a business, I would call it, because you're very heavy on the Zillow offers. It's almost its own entity within your organization. And then you also have your traditional sales team. And it's no secret, and we've had discussions about it, that your Zillow offers has taken a big hit because they have, backed out of the market a little bit. How has that impacted you and your team? And like, what sort of, messaging have you given to even the traditional? I know you shifted a lot of that to the traditional, and you're like, let's get on those leads and the conversions like Tom talked about. So tell me what that kind of looks like for you now. You're on mute, sorry.
The Zillow conversation, we always knew that was going to come up, right? Big bad wolf, as they say, and Veronica and her business so focused on Zillow. Listen, we were a successful team before our Zillow offers, and we will be a successful team even after the pandemic. Mainly because of what Nick said. Tom said, we are focused on conversion, right? And we want to make sure we always stay ahead of the industry and stay ahead of, what we need to be doing. Our Zillow offers obviously has taken a pause. It's the right thing to do, especially during this time where consumers were concerned about safety. And we are optimistic and positive that, we will turn the lights back on that, project in the next couple of months. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't have an exact date, but we are complying with what our government is saying. So with that being said, yes, there was a business decision that, you know, it was the right thing to do to pause that. And as a natural effect, people's jobs were affected. It is not easy to be in a leadership position. And anyone looking in like, oh, look what happened. Listen, at the end of the day, I want you to walk a day in my shoes and tell me if leadership is something that you wake up every day and say it's pretty and pink. Okay, that you have to sometimes face difficult decisions. It's never easy to have to make a decision to furlough your people or have to say, hey, we have to take a pause. But when I look at the decisions we've had to make, we looked at the entire organization. And I have a responsibility to make sure I make decisions that are going to move the company forward in a year from now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now. I've gotten caught with my pants down in the past. I've had to make, you know, I've made the wrong decisions in the past by keeping, you know, trying to be a hero. Right now was not the time for me to be a hero. I had to step up and be a leader. And unfortunately, yes, when that decision was happened, we had to put a pause as well. And we did the right thing. And you know what I love is that our team was like, hey, we got to do what we got to do. And, you know, we can't wait for this to turn back on. And when it does, we're ready. And, you know, we have a little culture, you know, I would say community where even some of our furloughed people jump on our culture calls and say, hey guys, we miss you. We can't wait to come back. So it's just, you know, for me, it was hard. And it was something that, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't lose sleep over because of my people, because I love them. But it was also part of the responsibility that comes with leadership, right? I knew what I got myself into. So I'm excited to know that when this gets back turned on, you know, we're going to come out stronger than ever. But it's mainly because I had to step up as leader and even show that even during times like this, you have to make difficult decisions, but still be, you know, the leader that people understand is always coming from the heart. So it wasn't easy. But in behind the scenes, you know, it's like we're not taking a break. We're building another plane while it's flying. That is a whole nother project that's launching. That while a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, we're taking a break, I feel like we're working more than ever. You know, we're over here behind the scenes working on some, you know, some really strategic processes to ensure that conversion is at its highest peak, not just now, but coming out of this. You know, I love that we were talking systems, and I'm a systems nerd when it comes to certain things. Like, I am so grateful for Sisu and how it has allowed us to still hold our team accountable from a distance. I am more than ever doubling down on systems. I didn't cut my spend. I still have a bill, even though I was, you know, part of Zillow. I still had, you know, I'm doubling down. Revive with and Why Local, being able to go back to the leads that we invested in years ago. Like, that's where we're like, oh my God, we're like mining. And this is crazy. Now, we used to think it was like, oh, low conversion. Now we're like, oh my God, this is everything we've been dreaming of for so many years. To really, really nurture this database, not just a one and done cherry picking the low hanging fruit. It's consistently growing this database and being the authority and being, you know, the resource for this data bank, as you would say. So for us, it's like, yeah, Zillow put a pause on it, but it's given us an opportunity to work on the things like Tom said that we needed to be working on. But when we come out of this, I love when he said the rubber band effect. It's like we are just like excited to just skyrocket. And it's crazy because we've also had to, while we unfortunately had to make some difficult decisions, we just onboarded, you know, 5 or 6 new top producers, agents who are coming on board, who are looking for guidance and leadership. So we're still, what I believe, preparing ourselves for the future, even though we've had to make difficult decisions. And the conversation like, oh, we're still growing. We're always focused on growing. We're always focused on growing our people and becoming better business leaders. Just because this is happening, but we're putting a pause on certain things that right now is not right to do or the right thing to do. So for us, it was a difficult situation to be in, but then we learned a lot about ourselves as leaders, and we're excited when this turns back on to come out stronger.
I love that. So, and I thank you for sharing that, because it, you know, like you said, it's not easy being a leader and making difficult decisions that, you know, you need to make, but it's a true testament to your culture and all of that, that even like you said, the furloughed employees are jumping on culture calls and they're like, how can I still stay involved? And how can I, you know, I can't wait to come back. So you've definitely built a culture that is amazing. And And it's funny because I remember when we chatted about the Zillow offers, the first thing you said, you were like, that's okay. They still have to sell. So we're just going to keep selling. And it was always a positive mentality. And that's how you've always rallied around your team. So I love that message. Thank you for sharing. So kind of, embracing times of uncertainty. This is something that's really funny when we're talking about opportunities, embracing uncertainty and keeping people first. And we've been shifted out of that automatic mindset, going into more of like how we've reacted during a time of crisis. And Joe, I'll kind of start with you is, being a leader, like, what was your first message to your team? Like what was that first, initial reaction? And if anyone's listening that's a leader or running an organization, what advice would you give them to give that message?
Well, I mean, the first thing was not to panic. And that's kind of why we entitled our series, Plan Over Panic. I think natural reaction in a moment of uncertainty is we kind of, freeze up and we'll lose our focus and we'll take our eye off of, what our plan was that we had set out, initially back in the beginning of the year. So I just had to really kind of just get with all of our owners, and we have some phenomenal owners within the Rosa and our team leaders, and just tell them, listen, in a time like this, we need leaders more than ever, right? So, and that's one thing I learned from John Maxwell. I mean, I did a class the other day, grow as a leader, because really, we just need leaders. There's so much negativity out there. You turn on the news, I don't care what channel you watch, it's just full of negative content, right? And so, we need leaders more than ever, and we need to really, truly now, come up with a plan so that we can adapt and we can get through this. And, I think it was Veronica may have mentioned this before, I really wanted to make sure that we had pushed this message down to all of our agents as well, as listen, in a time like this, really what's so important is reach out to, your database, to your clients, and don't just try to be a salesperson right now. Just check how they're doing. I mean, even myself the other day, I've been getting a few calls from folks that have been reaching out, just checking in. Hey, Joe, how are things going? And that means the world to me. I mean, I'm fine. We've been blessed. We're healthy, but it just means a lot to be able to know that there's folks out there that that care, and we need that positive energy out there right now. So I mean, the first thing was just to kind of plan, don't panic. Make sure that we can communicate with all of our clients, let them know that we're here for them, whatever they need. And we've been really focused more on serving right now more than ever. I mean, we've always had that kind of a mindset within our company, but really now over the last few weeks, I mean, we've been working together with different organizations to help folks, just being able to doing it right now with meals, helping folks right now that are in this, really bad situation. So if we can really just kind of, as a company, be able to kind of just go out there and help our community, that to me is probably the most important thing that we can be doing right now.
Perfect. Yeah. So you guys are doubling and tripling down on your community, and we definitely see it. And, again, sign up for the Thrive Society. And like you said, you're taking any recommendations of anything that people want to hear. I love that. So, Wendy, I kind of want to jump into a specific question for you. Is, you've kind of mastered your message and your brand even far before the crisis. And, tell us some strategies, or anyone listening, that, everyone knows Wendy in the Cloud. She made a brand for herself long before this. And it always came from a place of being a resource, which I think all of us need to do now, and what Joe was just touching on. What's one key piece of advice that you can give anyone watching that wants to start working on their brand and being that resource?
Well, I hope when people turn to me or come to me, I can always give them hope. That's always what I try to do, to inspire, be motivational, whether it be my teammates, our agents, anyone. I always choose to have a positive outlook on everything, despite what is going on. So I would this is actually the perfect time. This is how Wendy in the Cloud was born. It was 2 years ago. I thought I was a has-been because I didn't write a deal that month. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to do this thing called Wendy in the Cloud. This is the time, folks. This is the time to sit down, figure out your brand, figure out who you are, figure out why, people should use you. There's how many thousands of agents out there? You know what I mean? Why you? How are you going to serve, those families, those buyers and sellers? And ultimately it's about people. And, our property pros, we have a passion for people. I will say that. And that's what it's about. It's about people and community. I think we've all kind of said that, right? Community. It's what can we do? How can we serve? How can we help our neighbors that have little ones or elderly, get to the market, bring them some groceries, do things like that anonymously and just serve your community, and it'll come back to you.
Definitely. So again, focusing on that community, I think that's a unanimous thing. And, Wendy is such a great resource. I know I've personally reached out to you many a times, and she never says no to anyone. So anyone that needs some advice or anything on their brand, definitely, I know she's happy to help. Tom, I want to kind of jump into we got a baby on. I love it. I know it's going to happen eventually. One of our kids jump out, right? I want to talk about, for you're huge on culture. If I'm not mistaken, your whole team just went on a cruise that I'm like super jealous. I wish I would have gone on it. It was like so much fun. But you're big on culture, and ever since you started growing your team, and we worked in the same office so long ago when I was an agent, and he still has a lot of the same people on that team. And I think that is so beautiful that they've stayed with you and you guys have really grown together. So tell us what kind of the message is now to your team more than ever, and how you've really been able to keep that bond.
I think for us, it has been, the biggest message right now is just to stay positive and to be a positive light, right? Like everything around us is so negative. And it's like anytime you turn something on or go on social media. So, the message has been, stay positive and focus on the things that you can control, right? There's so many things that we can't control. We can't control. I mean, there's these states where people get shut down and they can't go outdoors. There's there's so many uncontrollables, but the message really has been just to focus our time and energy on those things that we can control. Be a positive beacon of light, right? Be the one that posts something positive on social media every single day. Talk about what's good in the world. And I think by doing that, everything that's our first core value, is that positivity is not an option. It's a work ethic, right? So I think through this time, it's just really sticking to that and having people focus that in their message. We've told everybody, like I think Joe said, is call through your database, call all your past clients, but just call from a point of caring, right? Not that you're trying to get business, just call and see if they're okay, call and see if they need anything. So I think by focusing on the things that we can control, and being that's our biggest core value, it's the same thing we're focusing on when we're here in the office or in our sales meeting on a Monday morning, or in our call on a Thursday night. So continue to do that. Just continue to do it in the current environment that we're working in.
Yeah, mindset is your biggest ROI right now, right? Mm-hmm. And just pouring that into your team. Chris, I want to jump into a really specific question for you. And you and I have been chatting for a couple of months, even prior to the pandemic, and you're starting a really special nonprofit on the side. And when I talked to you, even during the pandemic, I was like, are you putting it on pause? What's going on with that? And you're like, oh, I'm going full force. We're still moving forward. And, I know it's still not all the way out there, but, there's a lot of major influencers in the, Central Florida area that are part of it. And it's going to be really big when it does launch. It's putting people back into the workforce. So talk about community. How has that been for you to really have that mindset of just pushing through and still moving forward with that?
Yeah. You got to be about something, I think, in short. And doesn't matter what's happening around you. You can get bogged down. There's always something. One day something happens, schools close, and you're teaching at home. Oh, hold on, that's happening, right? I got a family of 7, and it can get a little chaotic at times. I can either go with the chaos and let the circus run loose, and sometimes that just needs to happen, but it doesn't stop everything else. There's still things happening in life, and there's hard times that we're going through, and we just recently lost a loved one, and it wasn't due to the coronavirus, and man, it sucked. Because of the coronavirus, we couldn't be there. We couldn't go and say goodbye. So you have those kind of things happening. You can either get bogged down again in the turmoil of it, or again, you can be about something that keeps you moving forward. And so that's kind of what this is for us. We're excited about it. We're passionate about it. It has to do with human trafficking. Always remember, there's people out there who have it worse, right? There's always somebody who has it worse than you do. So we're excited to be a part of that movement to fight human trafficking and be a resource as well. So those kind of things keep you moving as well, because we can hurt ourselves when we look internally and just get focused on ourselves, But when you are about other people, as a few of the panelists have said, it helps you. It helps you stay forward. As a leader, you're working for your team. It's not about you. If it is, you got to reevaluate. And just as a person doing life, I see it as we're doing life together. And so there's things to be done, and to be about helping others is a part of that, whether it's through real estate or through something else. And this is going to be in a way that real estate can give back. So it's a great opportunity that we're excited about, but that is at the core of what it is. It's just that we got to be about something, and we're going to be about people through this process. And we're not going to let what's happening around us slow that down, because even more so, just a side note here to it is, again, I mentioned this about human trafficking, and in times like this, it doesn't slow down. It actually goes up. There's more demand. More people are sitting around. More people lose, whatever they're doing. There are people who are in need, and in this particular field, it's sad, and we're going to fight the fight and go after it. So I don't know, but yeah, can I say more?
I can feel your servant heart through the computer, and it's amazing. And I remember the first time you and your wife Courtney brought it up to me. She couldn't even talk about it without crying. So I know how much it means to you, and we're excited to see that launch and love what you're doing for the community. Veronica, I want to kind of ask you, just for sake of time, we'll just jump through one more question, and I appreciate you guys' time. I want to be respectful. I know I said an hour, but I feel like we can keep talking forever. This is great. How do you think that this really is going to shape the new norm for the future of real estate? Like, what do you hope to see really come from this?
Oh, I hope that all the things that everyone's doing to really step out of their comfort zone and to give back continues. Like, I'm just so grateful to even what Chris was saying. Like, I'm so glad he's continuing his, passion to really lift up his cause, right? What he's passionate about. I want more people to follow that lead, right? I want more people to really just continue to show up as leaders beyond this. I do believe it has really elevated just our industry, and I'm just so grateful. And just because I want to share that Christopher, just, oh my God, like my heart is just so proud to just know that someone in Central Florida is doing something so powerful. Those are the things that we should all be emulating, right? If you haven't found something that pisses you off, or that gives you a chip on the shoulder, or that you just want to go and be a difference on, like, this is the type of leader you should be following. Like, I want our industry to do more of that. Follow the lead of people who are not afraid to put themselves out there. And even if it wasn't your idea, go find your passion. Go find your purpose. I think right before all of this started, I went on Facebook Live and I just opened my heart up about depression and mental illness. And one of my friend's daughter took her life. And like, those are the type of things that, I want to see us just being more of leaders in, and just stepping up and just defending the things that we're really passionate about. So, thank you, Chris, for leading the way and starting, a nonprofit and not pausing, right? And what I'm hoping after all of this is that those of you who have really stepped up, you don't stop. I hear like, when we go back to normal, I want us to, I can't wait to go back to the office. I get that. But like, when we go back to normal, we need to do the new things that we've been doing and keep it going. I don't want us to stop doing the things that we've been doing. I want us to collaborate more. I want us to help each other more. I want us to support each other's organizations more through collaboration, training, support, mental health, like Amanda, your diabetes, movement that you have. Like, we need to help each other more beyond this COVID. The world has shown that we care. We need to care even after this is over. That's really what I hope our new normal will look like. And real estate is what we do for a living. It's not who we are. It's a platform that we get to use to really grow to the highest, I would say, purpose, at least for me, is because it's given me an opportunity to meet people like you guys and learn from people like you. But like, beyond all of this, I think there's a common theme, and I made a note. Everyone on here is talking about the people, the heart, and that's what I love about it. That's really who we are. And I just hope that we show up like that after this, and along the way, sell a lot of real estate. That's the long-winded answer. I get mushy when it comes to stuff like this, but I just want to see people be better people after this. This industry can be a little toxic.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, again, why I have the 5 of you together on this panel is because I know that you all lead from the heart, and you always put your people first. And, in times of crisis, that's sometimes difficult, but then it's sometimes easy to be able to shift and adapt really quickly. And, all of you are retooling, revising, recalibrating, and like re-engaging. And it's so important right now. Anything you want to add, Joe, that is, specific to how you hope this shapes real estate in the future?
Well, I mean, just to I start with all of us first, right? As individuals, as human beings. I've never been a hugger in my life, but I think when this is all over, I'm probably gonna become a hugger now. I think we've, again, trying to find the positive in all this. I think we have maybe been taking a lot of things for granted in our lives, and I don't want to speak for everybody here, but I know I have. And so I think it's all about just valuing the relationships that we have. And so I know as a leader, I'm going to be doing a better job with that. Yeah. once we get back out there, right? Listen, in regards to real estate, I mean, I would say the trend has been that we were going to be going more, utilizing a lot more of technology, right? Technology has played a huge role in the advancement of how we operate, in this industry. I think the fast forward button has been hit. And I think, we've been all forced to now work remotely, right? To work virtually. And I go back to even kind of within our own company, we provided so many tools to our agents that a lot of agents weren't utilizing it, right? Now they are, right? Because if they want to do business, they want to be able to, communicate, with the office, or attend classes, or, communicate with their clients. They need to do it through technology. So I think that's what's probably going to be, different when all this is over. I think there's going to be a new norm, and I think technology is going to continue to play the role that it's been playing throughout this pandemic.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. And I agree. Embracing technology, I think a lot of people have kind of tried to shy away from it for so long, right? And now it's going to be a necessity with technology, and that goes to say for the whole real estate community, us as affiliates too, embracing technology and seeing how we can all collaborate and work together is more important than ever. Any other comments on that, Wendy? Where do you really see hope come from all of this?
Well, from a business standpoint, for sure, I have learned to embrace technology and will continue to do so. And I think as a brokerage, there's definitely been some, technology Anthony's like, I think we should do more of this, you know? So it's definitely been awesome, that part of it, and implementing that part of it. Personally, this totally made me, you know, I thought my life was colorful back then. Like, this totally made me look at things in such a different perspective, like not being able to see my mom and kiss her and hug her. And so like things that I was putting off, as far as taking my mom on a trip or going, you know, here or there with my children. Cooking. I started cooking again. I haven't cooked in like 5 years. I cooked. I didn't burn down the house. So that's exciting. Everything's living and breathing. And I actually like it. And I have found the more that I drink wine while I'm cooking, the better it tastes.
Oh
so
my God.
A lot more of that.
You know, Wendy, I want to say something about
Soul Sisters. Yeah.
I want to say something about that. I think what's really cool is because we've been going out more, bike riding, and just love seeing how people are out in their communities.
Yes.
You know, although we are practicing social distancing, love seeing families take a walk, love seeing people, you know, ride their bikes and go for a walk. And I actually, for the first time, rode my bike in my community. I was like, wow, we have a really beautiful community. Like, I was present in that moment. I got to notice the trees. I was able to notice things and be a little bit more present. So that is something personally I'm enjoying. And I hope that I can, you know, the future looks more intentional with that.
For sure. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Chris, from what you hope to see?
I love adding tools to the toolbox. That's what I call all these different little things. It's just tools in the toolbox. So extra tech tools, but always remembering that none of it replaces the value or the strength of a personal connection, because it doesn't matter what we have in our toolbox. If they don't connect with us, we could have all the trinkets and okay, cool, but I know them better, or I feel connected to them better. So from a real estate perspective to the agents, you got to have the connection. Don't undermine the importance and the value of that connection. Utilize the new tools, harness them, leverage them. They're there as an asset. Build it on top of that foundation of the personal connection or whatever matter. I have that far too often with investors that come to me because they didn't have a connection and they built investors heavily on trust. And if you lose their trust, they're going somewhere else. And so that is the core of what I build with our connection is first and foremost, it's right here. Let's be transparent. And then, hey, look at all the little tools we can use to do our business. Cool. And so, yeah, but lead by action too. Okay? We're leading by action. If anything, the extra time with the whole family at home, it's a reminder they're going to do what we do to our teams, for our families. So leading by action, even around the house, it gets away from me sometimes. I'm like, oh, hold on. But Dad, as they're goofing off while they're in their Zoom meeting at school, right? Well,
Yeah.
Okay, I guess they caught me. I should maintain what I'm doing better or whatever, you know, being that example. And it's great to be with the family this extra time too. So enjoy it while we have it, and don't forget about it once things adjust.
Any last words, Tom, on that as well? Like, how do you think this will shape real estate, or what do you really see hope come from all of this?
You know, I think professionally, it's you know, we get so accustomed to, and I think in our profession it happens frequently, right? That we get so accustomed to what our normal is. You know, whether it's really busy, whether it's, you know, what we're doing day to day, whether it's coming in the office and prospecting every day, we get really accustomed, and we get into this comfort zone. Right? When we get in that comfort zone, it stops us from doing things that scare us a little bit, or it stops us from doing things that we're uncomfortable with. You know, I think Veronica used the example of doing video, or you know, shooting videos, or getting acclimated with video. For some people, it's calling their past clients. For some people, it's, you know, I had an agent that just felt really awkward doing virtual tours and walking through the house and talking to it, you know, a client or a stranger on FaceTime. So I think that, you know, when things are going normal, we get accustomed to doing the same things, right? But I think on the other side of that fear, or on the other side of that change, where we push ourselves to get uncomfortable, that's uncharted territory. That's where we learn new things. That's where we learn new things about ourselves. We get more skilled. we get more confident, we learn to enjoy those challenges, right? So I hope, I think that in times of challenge, it gives us the opportunity to do things, and the cream rises to the top, right? But just like Veronica said, I can't echo her more, is that stick to it though. Don't just do it during this week or 2 weeks or month. Like, find something new that's gonna make you a better version of yourself, and stick to it and get better at it. So I hope professionally that's how we can improve as an industry, whether it become the technology or the virtual tours or the Zoom conferences. And I think personally, it's just, for me, it's and I probably can, everybody on this panel will say the same thing. I work so much when things are normal that I don't pause enough to really soak in the things that matter, like my kids or nature or being outside. Veronica said it's like going around the community and seeing it all. I didn't even know these many people lived in my neighborhood, right? Like, everybody's out on bikes and in the park. I'm like, holy shit, where'd these people come from? Like, you don't live here normally, right? Are you just visiting the neighborhood? But it's great to just drive around and seeing so many people outside and engaged and enjoying time with their family that I know they weren't enjoying a month ago, right? So, I'm planning on that being a new norm in our household, and I think that's healthy and for us and for anybody, and I hope that can stick afterward as well.
Definitely. And, I think that's unanimous, right? We're kind of all echoing that is, we're entrepreneurs. We love to be busy. We love to work, and we kind of fill our schedules with stuff we don't necessarily, now we're realizing that we don't even necessarily enjoy doing, or we're just doing it because we thought we need to be busy, right? Because we're not used to just sitting down and enjoying time and being intentional. So me too. I echo that 100%. And I can't thank you guys enough. Is there anything else you want to add to anyone watching? We've had such a great crowd, and thank everyone for all the comments. But I love, all the servant leaders here. Thank you for what you're doing in the real estate community. Thank you so much for what you're doing for your teams. It's all about building leaders to become leaders underneath you and putting them forward. And you all exemplify that so much. So thank you for your time today. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Take care.